Hey everybody, it's Ken Faulkner. I'm dipping into my knife collection again today, and kind of a subset. These are all my Kaiser knives, and except for one right here, which won't stand up on its own. So we're gonna leave it out of the picture for now. It's a fun knife, but it's over to the side. It'll show up in a bit. So the rest of these guys you can kind of see from the side, and you may recognize them just by looking at them from here. Going through from my earliest buys up through the more current ones that I bought recently. So Kaiser's great knife company. They have so many different varieties, and that's what I like about them. And you can see there's a big size range. We're going to start out with a real small one over here. This one is the Feist. It's a tiny little knife, very thin, almost like a gentleman carry. You know, one of those ones where the blade is pretty well hidden inside of the scales. These scales are JG10, and so that's more of a natural color. But the great thing about these kind of scales is that you can dye them. The bad thing about them is that I put things off. I procrastinate. I bought the dye probably a month ago, and still haven't taken this thing apart and done the dye job, the RIT dye job on this one. But hopefully sometime I will have a video of this to show how this turned out once I do the dye job. It's got that front flipper. It's real snappy. Got to be careful with this guy though. That thing is a sharp point. I got myself earlier with this guy, trying to get fancy with the flipping. Not the best front flipper, and then when you start to get over the top type flips, yeah, it's pretty challenging. I'm not the best at it, but I'm not the worst. Lundquist design, M390 steel from Kaiser. Normally you're seeing 154. This is a little upgrade on the steel, but it's also a little knife, so it doesn't make it super expensive because of that. But it's a really great little design, and that was my early buy back when I was worried about carrying knives and them showing up in my pocket at work and people freaking out. But once I got over that, I started buying something a little bit bigger. This one is the Comrade, and I got here's the PlayStation design. You know, when I was growing up, PlayStation was very popular, and all these symbols were very common. I know PlayStation is still around, but there's a lot of other options now out there. Not that I'm much of a gamer, I really couldn't say. But the Comrade, Bees Blades did his very first video on a Comrade with a slightly different design pattern on here. I think he had the X's and O's only, and dyed it. And I liked it from the very first video where I saw this knife. One of the great things about it is it's got so many different ways of deploying. You got the middle finger flick. You hear that little ting. That's kind of cool too. You got the front flipper again, which I am not the best at, but I can still do it. It's got the back flipper, which is very, very small back flipper, not one of those ones sticking way out. It's a subtle little thing, but it works. And then of course you got the button lock, so it'll pop out and in. You can really hear that ting with the button lock, and it's a cool little button. It's got a little texture on there. Good G10 handles with good grip. I think we're going to 154 on this one. That's what I believe. But anyway, it's a great little one, especially if you like to fidget with knives. And usually when I'm picking this up and put it in my pocket, I'm thinking it's going to be pretty cool to walk around or sit at my desk or whatever I'm doing that day, just to be able to pull this thing out and just flip it around all the different ways that you can flip it. So that's one of the big selling points. It also has a nice hollow grind, so if you're going to use it actually as a knife, not just a fidget toy, you got that hollow grind. So it's really kind of very slicey little blade. So that's a fun one. And the next one, speaking of fun, the next one is really fun. There's so many versions of this knife out there. And like I said, I started out buying these little small knives, but then I kind of got a little more confident, and then I'm going and buying stuff like this. This is the Sheepdog XL, and it is a beast of a knife. This is my first little venture into the larger pocket knife purchases. Wow, that thing's solid. It's got the carbon fiber handles. Actually, it's not a smooth carbon fiber. It's like it's kind of got a pattern to it, and you can feel that pattern. So even without these grooves that's the normal Sheepdog kind of design on the handle, you still have a really good grip. There's a lot of handle here to hold on to. Nice tall flat grind. It's maybe it's not that much thicker than a lot of the other knives, so you can still get some good slicing going on, especially since you're so tall in that flat. And it's got that sheepdog type, or the sheep's foot type design. And yeah, it's a great knife. I tell you, having that carbon fiber on there doesn't really make it that much lighter, though. This is a pretty heavy knife. It's a lot of steel here. I like all the different designs I've seen. I would have liked to have gotten it with the hole, but this one was back when I don't believe that they had the flipper or the hole deployment type out yet. But look at that. Talking about compared to that Comrat with that little tiny flipper, you got a big monster on this one. Of course, it goes with the knife because it's a big monster kind of knife. So anyway, it's definitely a fun one to show your friends, take out in the break room, and say, hey, you want me to cut that donut for you? I can take care of that for you. This one actually is pretty good for food prep because you get your fingers out of the way, and you can bring that blade down underneath where your fingers are sticking out, so that you can actually cut some stuff on a cutting board really easy. Fun knife. All right, moving on. Another big one. This is the Kaiser Roach, and it's a very cool. I like the kind of rustic kind of look to it. It's got that micarta that kind of takes in your oils, and it gives you that cool kind of look. It's all blacked out blade, so everything looks kind of dark and kind of rustic. And speaking of the blade, this is a great shape. I love this type of knife shape. That leaf-ish drop point, almost spear point type. Plus the handle. First of all, you can hold it back here, or you can hold it with the finger choil, which is great for just feeling like you got control of that knife. But it also kind of angles down, so it's got that real, almost like a chopping kind of design to it. So it's a great feel. That's really what drew me to this knife. Made me want to pick up one of these guys. And it's another one of those big knives. And it's a great knife. This one I think is the 154 as well. But anyway, the Kaiser Roach. Next. Now this is one that I didn't pick out. I didn't go and say I want to get this one and him and haw over whether I should buy it or not. This one was my first blade show I went to. Second blade show I went to. There was a Kaiser party after the show one night, and Vu Pham was there that year. Vu Pham is a great guy. He I knew him from the chats and Bees Blades, but then I got to meet him in person, and he is just an awesome salesman, representative for knife companies. He's also super, super cool. And this one is called the LP, and I had never even heard of it. But then when I left the party, I got this bag of goodies, and I figure I got some stickers, I got a hat, I got, stuff like that. But this knife was inside that goodie bag, that little swag bag, and it is the LP. And it is a cool little knife. I mean, especially as just kind of a parting gift there. Definitely one that I like to carry. It's small, again, but sometimes you need a small knife. If you're wearing shorts, you're wearing gym shorts especially, or whatever you're doing where you just don't really have a big pocket with a lot of real estate for some of these monsters. And it's got that great Wharncliffe edge, so it's going to cut really well. And yeah, it's got nice, I believe that's micarta handles. Could be G10, but I think that's micarta. Very grippy, great texture. Also has that rustic look, very much like the Roach. Nice blacked out, darker kind of colors, and nice design on the handle. I love this knife. It's very cool, and it's got a great memory behind it because of that night. So then we get into some knives that my girlfriend bought me. This was a Christmas gift, and she normally will say, I don't know what to get you. Why don't you pick something out? Here, I'll just give you the money for it. And that's what she did this year. Not this year, but the year that she got this for me. And at the time, Kaiser was having a great sale. So she says, I don't want to spend too much money. So I got this range. I think it was something around 50, 60 bucks or something like that. And I'm going, wow, look at this knife. This very cool, awesome design knife was in that range. And this one it's the Sharif Mangana's Gracioso. And man, that is such a cool design. And for the price, at least with the discount, and I think even without the discount, it is just well worth it. It's just a great design, quality knife. Kaiser always brings the quality, the action, open and close. You're not going to get a lot of different deployments on this guy. It's pretty much flipper only, but man, it is just a great knife. Some more great micarta with that, the changing of the color as you handle the knife. The brass bolsters are just classy looking, classy. And then it's got that brass backspacer to kind of pop out that color. And that is a very cool knife. So I was super happy with my gift that year, except this was the decoy knife. This is the knife that she bought because she had something else up her sleeve that year. And this is the one, if you saw my video on it, she was talking with Bees Blades because she wanted to buy this one. She knew that I had liked it. She saw me watching a video with this knife, and she didn't really know how to go about buying a knife. So she contacted Bees Blades. I don't know if it's an email or Instagram, but anyway, she got a hold of him and he helped her out. So this was a super surprise because she had never actually gone out and bought a knife for me that I didn't pick out myself. And she got me that Serape style handle. Back when I went to a blade show that year that I got this knife, they were showing these guys off, but I don't think they were for sale, or maybe I'd already spent all my money and I just didn't have anything left. So anyway, I always kind of had it in the back of my mind that I wanted to pick one of these guys up. Great knife, Towser K. It's the Towser K. 154 cm, Towser K, Serape handles. Comes with this very, very cool case. If you go back to my video with this, I showed a little bit more, some of the stuff that comes with it. Thank you for your purchase from Kaiser. And yeah, this is a great knife. Towser K, nice and big. It's got that kind of that choil back in the handle, so it's similar to some of these other ones that have a choil back there. It just really helps when you're gripping it tightly to hold onto that blade and doesn't move anywhere. So I've always liked that design. All right. Before I get much further, going back a little bit and telling you about this knife here. This one I bought the same year that I got the LP. This is the mini Paragon, and I show this in a video of bigger knives that I have, and I'm sure this guy was in there as well. And this one is talking about fun. This is a fun knife. I guess that's what I see in the bigger knives. They make me smile. They make me happy. I don't know why. We all have different preferences on our knives. Some people like smaller knives. Some people like bigger knives. You know, as far as I'm concerned, I like what I like, and other people like what they like, and that's fine with me. I don't have a problem with it. But this is fun. Lots of design features in here. Lots of grinds on that blade. It's just got a lot of fun stuff going on with it. It's got a little pop color there. Won't stand up. If you put it down with the spine, trying to make it not so obvious what it is, it falls down every time. So if that's what you want to do with your knife, I don't recommend that knife. If you want to have fun and you don't mind a bigger knife that really swings out with a hole deployment or a flipper deployment, I definitely get this one. So, Mini Paragon. And there's a story behind that. You can catch either my videos or Billy at Apex Alchemy. He can tell you all about that. Mini Paragon. And now I'm getting into this year's purchases. But this is not a purchase. This one was also something I got for free. And it's also something that I'd never heard of before and wasn't looking to buy. And it was also something I picked up at the Kaiser party this year at Blade Show in Atlanta. And this year they didn't have these in the gift bag. So I was just going to be getting some cool swag like this guy here. Oh, little preview of that knife. Got this hat, got this coin, got these cool stickers. The Drop Bear stickers they had this year. They were doing a lot of fun stuff for their 10th year anniversary. And what happened at that party, that after dinner party, is that they were giving away knives. They had raffle tickets they gave out at the beginning, and what happened was that I had number 1, a raffle ticket, and they picked that number, and I figured, oh, they're just going to hand me a knife. They're going to say, here's a knife. But what actually happened is they had a table with a whole bunch of knives sitting there, and I got to pick. I got to pick the knife I wanted. That is a cool giveaway right there. And there's probably about 10, 15 knives out there, and I'm looking at them. But you know, lately I've been really getting into this titanium handled style knife, and so I immediately was drawn to this one. And I got it, took it back to the table. I'm looking at it going, what the heck is this knife? This one is called the Torngat. Torngat. You know, I just had never even heard of it before. There's the name. Actually, I was thinking it looks like it says Tomgat. But if you look closely, it's an R and an N next to each other, not an M. And Tomgat might have been like a little play on Tomcat, I guess. But no, this is the Torngat. Torngat. I don't know how to pronounce it. But I know I love the design of this knife. This dual grind. You got a little flat with the hollow. Always like that hollow. Like the Comrade, it's got that hollow grind. And this one does have the hole deployment. Not as many deployments as the Comrade, but I love that hole deployment. And it's got a great handle. It's got those stripes on it. That's very similar to the Sheepdog. I like the milled pocket clip, and it's got like this light blue kind of anodized little piece there. It's got a darker blue anodize around the pivot collar. And another thing about this knife is S35VN. So a little different steel. Nice steel. I like S35. So I feel like I hit a home run and I picked the right knife for me, even though I've never heard of it before, never had it on my list. I got that knife and I'm digging it. And another one with a great story, a great memory. I'm sure I'm getting real long on this, so I got one more knife to show, and this one is different because I didn't buy it for myself. At Blade Show this year, they had this, and you've probably seen this before, that cool anodized kind of fade from like a yellow to a blue. And this is the Drop Bear. Drop Bear is a great knife. I really feel like they're doing some great different designs for the Drop Bear. They got all kinds of different materials, and it's just a great knife. It's got that cool crossbar lock. They got these cool stickers that I showed you earlier. They had a whole bunch of those at the show this year. And this was kind of like the big premiere. They had a 10th anniversary version of the Drop Bear, and they actually did a giveaway. I didn't get that one. But Bees Blades, he was just talking in his live last night about he was one number away from getting that 10th anniversary one. It had these micarta scales that was a special kind of micarta, a Westinghouse micarta. And if you know a little bit of the history of micarta, Westinghouse developed it. I believe they were the first ones to develop it. They're certainly the first ones to kind of use it as an electrical insulator. And they had, and if you see that one with the 10th anniversary one, that's a very expensive knife. It's got that micarta, but it looks almost like wood. And so it's a very cool looking knife. But this one, we were over there at the Kaiser booth hanging out. Crazy K was there giving us some cool swag, talking about knives. And my girlfriend went to use the restroom, and Mrs. B's was there, and she said, "Hey, Ken, I think your girlfriend wants this knife." And you know, when my girlfriend wants a knife that's like, you know, like a regular knife, not a donut knife or something that's named after an animal. Wait a minute, this is named after an animal. It's the Drop Bear. That makes sense now. Okay, here we go. So Drop Bear, she wanted it. Somehow she managed to let Mrs. B's know that, and Mrs. B's kind of clued me into it. So I picked it up, and when she came from the bathroom, she said, it worked. So there was that conspiracy, and that was fun. Good memory on this one. This is, you know, she's got that cool color combination that kind of draws her. She likes the aesthetics of a knife. She loves the way the action of this knife. I do too. It's very cool, but it's her knife, and I'm not going to take it from her. But she did let me show it for this video, and I appreciate that. So there you have it. My Kaisers in my collection. These are all the ones I have so far. I probably will be getting more. Who knows? As my journey continues. But man, I really love these knives, and I hope you loved seeing them and hearing me talk about them. And I hope you guys have a great day, and I will talk to you later.